Well, okay, as we get ready to hit the phones then today, I just want to make sure that you're familiar with how you're going to deal with these people that interrupt you early. Because you're going to call them on the phone, they're not going to want to talk to you. And you're going to have to figure out a way to get yourself into their home over the phone where you can actually put on your presentation. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how you deal with these early interrupts. Now, if you have a tool that you can use every call, then the control that you show on your end of the phone is going to offset all the confusion that you're getting on the other end of the phone. So, for instance, if you call somebody up and you don't even get a chance to get your name out, chances are you're going to have a hard time making a sale to this person. So what I want to work on for this section of the training is just to make sure that you know how to deal with early interrupts and dealing with any kind of an objection. We're going to use a three-part method for dealing with these. The first thing you do is you say their name, just to let them know that you actually are familiar with who they are. Their name is going to be on the screen in front of you. So for instance, Randy. So for instance, if I call you up and ask, may I please speak with Mr. Scott, then you're going to know that I'm trying to contact you, right?
Right.
Okay, great. So then the second thing we're going to do is acknowledge that the customer said something to us. Like, for instance, oh, I can appreciate your hesitation. Or many people have said that to me today. You need to have some pat phrase that you can use every time for a control measure. Because when you call on the phone, a lot of these people are not going to want to talk to you. You just understand that ahead of time. So the more you control your end of the call, the easier it's going to be for you to make a sale to the person, whether they want to talk to you or not. And that's what it's all about. It's getting the sales made. Now, the third thing, maintaining control of the call, is to address the actual objection or concern that the person brought up on the phone in the first place. Okay, so what we're going to do is try to break down into groups so you guys can practice doing this. This is a skill. You have to learn how to do this just like you learn how to do everything else. Now, it's going to sound faked, and it's going to sound weird as you first get started doing this. But day in and day out on the phone, when you're talking to people who don't want to talk to you, this kind of skill will come in very handy. Okay, and in fact, you're going to have to use this kind of format if you want to hit your sales goals. You're just going to have to. The reason I say have to is because you never know what's going to happen on the other end of the phone, so you always want to make sure you know what's going on your end of the phone. So just as an example, I want you guys to all get out this I receive literature on the phone, or I receive literature in the mail already. It's number 40 on your scrub, because you're going to get a lot of that. We time our calls to match up with the mailing that we do. Why? So that they know why we're calling. We don't have to spend a lot of time explaining ourselves. So just for instance, if I was on the other end of the phone and I told you, well, I know I'm not interested because I received information about the service in the mail, well, then all of a sudden you have something you can use on me to say, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear you received our mailing, sir. And then you go right back into your presentation like nothing happened. Because you're going to have to get through the presentation in order to build enough value to make a sale. So this is just another skill you're going to have to use to hit those kind of sales goals. All right, does anybody have any questions about this? It's very simple, but we're going to practice it anyway so that when you hit the phones, you're confident, you're poised, you have all the tools you need to get the job done. Because if you don't get the job done, then what's the point in paying you for doing the job? You'll be fired. That's just the hard, cold reality. That's the way it goes. So just as an example, Randy, why don't you give me a call? You can call me Bill Nelson. Okay, and let's just start. And I'll show you how to do this. It's very simple. I'm going to practice early interrupting him. Do you remember how to do this now? You say my name.
Do you want me to just start with the calling script?
Yeah, just write in. Yep.
Okay. Hello, may I speak to Mr. Nelson?
This is Mr. Nelson.
Hi, this is Randy Scott calling from the Spectre Financial Network.
I'm not interested. I already got your mailing.
Mr. Nelson, I'm glad to hear that.
See how long it took him to wait? You got to say the name right away, Randy. This is a skill. You got to be sharp. Okay, let's try it again.
From the beginning?
Yep, straight from the beginning. That'd be fine.
Okay. Hello, may I speak to Mr. Nelson?
This is Mr. Nelson.
Hi, this is Randy Scott calling from the Spectre Financial Network. How are you this evening, Mr. Nelson?
I'm just fine, but I already received your mailing, and I don't think I'm interested.
Mr. Nelson, I'm glad to hear you received our mailing, Mr. Nelson. I'm sure you'd agree that Super Century will provide you with convenience, security, and peace of mind.
See now how he took control of the call back? I said I wasn't interested. Now he's talking to me again. You can't just hang up and say, oh, okay, you're not interested. Fine. You have to engage him. Okay, that was really good, Randy. I hope when you guys get together and role play this that you can help Luis do that too, because that's exactly right. You have to be just like that one game show, whatever it was, where you had to hit the big button. What's that called? Family Feud. where they say the top 5 categories are on the board, and then you have to guess what the first one is. So you have to pounce. You have to pounce right on. You have to be ready.
Hello, may I speak to Mr. Scott, please?
This is Mr. Scott.
How are you this evening, Mr. Scott?
I'm fine.
My name is Luis Loeb, and I'm calling from Spectre Financial Network. Mr. Scott, I'm calling to personally thank you for your business in the past and to let you know that your friendship and well-being is more important than money to us.
I think we got something about that in the mail.
Well, Mr. Scott, I'm glad to hear you received our mailing. And Mr. Scott, I'm sure you'd agree that Super Sentry will provide you with convenience, security, and peace of mind. And speaking of convenience, Mr. Scott, we can enroll you tonight and your protection will begin immediately. And please, remember your satisfaction is fully guaranteed.
I'm not interested.
I appreciate your hesitation, but if you give me just a little more time, I'll give you the 101 advantages of our program. So let's go ahead and start your enrollment today, this evening. Is that okay, Mr. Scott?
I don't think so.
Mr. Scott, I appreciate your business, and where should I go from here now?